Hey everybody, welcome to EDUT 521. My name is Bill Selleck. I'll be your instructor for the next 8 weeks. In this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, a little bit about the course, and a little bit about the program. So, I have been adjunct faculty here at Concordia University Irvine, I think for 10 years now. I should have looked at that before I hit record. It's been a while. I've taught, I think, every course in this master's program, and this continues to be one of the most important ones, um, and one of those where it seems rather simple, and in some ways, the feedback I've heard was like, I don't really understand the relevance, and hopefully by the end of the 8 weeks, you'll see just how critically important all of this is and how including all of our learners makes it better for everyone, and just how it touches nearly every part of what you do as an educator. I really like this course. I think you're going to like it too. And I don't always start videos by saying I love the course. I'm just like, here's one you have to take. And secretly in my head, I'm like, here's one I have to teach. But I genuinely like this one, and I really think you're going to like it also. I also have a handful of things I'm going to add into the course in these weekly videos. So who am I? God, that's the question, isn't it? First week of January, who are any of us really, right? Um, Hopefully your brain is starting to remember what it's like to be an educator and like wake up to an alarm and all that stuff. Hopefully you had time to do what you needed over winter break. Hopefully you had the type of break that you needed. I have a day job as director of technology at Hillbrook School. We're a K-12 school in the San Jose area in Northern California. This is my 11th year at Hillbrook, which I guess means it's 10 years at Concordia. There it is. I could have done the math that way. Um, and I'm responsible for all the devices, what we do, why we buy them, what we do with them, how we make sure all students are included with that. And so I definitely see a lot of the things you learn in this course kind of play out. We're an Apple Distinguished School. I've also been an Apple Distinguished Educator since I think 2015, so 9 years for that. Yay. Um, and yeah, I have 3 kids that all go to Hillbrook. They're in grades 4, 6, and 7. Before I was teaching at or working at Hillbrook in an admin role, I was teaching 4th and 5th grade music, 2nd grade, and kindergarten. And I definitely enjoy being able to work with kind of all the grades all the way through high school now. This is our second full year with a high school. We were only in Los Gatos, kind of in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and second full year with a high school right now, or in our second year. So yeah, the job has gotten very big. We're building a 3rd building, and I'll talk about that. Maybe depending on when I make my video, I might even take you on a quick tour of what that building looks like in downtown San Jose. It's good stuff. So a little bit about, I guess, our program. There's a few things that I'm supposed to tell you. The part where it says start here, you've started here, so good job on that. Student support services, make sure you click and look at that. Lots of APA resources, make sure you know how to do the APA. Lots of great library resources. If you've not looked at those, I encourage you to certainly take a look at those. Obviously, take a look at the rubric and the syllabus, our late policies, like all the things. You know this at this point. So please make sure to look at all of those. They're fantastic resources, particularly with the online writing lab. It's good stuff. Let me walk you through very quickly each week in this video. Well aware that you can read on your own, but I'll try and kind of give you the arc and flow of the course. And then each week I will make a video and you'll go in and I'll give you some more details of what it looks like, kind of the theme of the week. Each week we're going to be looking at an equity group, like a subgroup is I think how the Google Docs with the assignments refer to them as. We'll focus on a particular group and look at like what equity looks like for that group. So, kind of the bigger themes like that I'm going to talk about right now. And then we'll actually get into like, here's what the assignment is, the theme of the week, discussion boards. Each week, let me double check. You have a discussion board every week. Initial posts due Wednesday by midnight, 2 thoughtful replies due to classmates Sunday by midnight. Make sure you have a citation in each of your initial posts. It's all in the rubric. Look it over and make sure you're actually doing that. should be pretty straightforward. So week 1, the idea is just introduction to assistive technology. Whenever you see AT, that is assistive technology. Your first assignment is going to dig into 3 different types of assistive technologies, or ATs. Assistive technology with writing, reading, and communication. The focus of the subgroup is around special education, and I'll talk a lot more about what that is like in week 1. You have a very simple assistive technology table for your assignment in week 1. And again, like as soon as you watch this video, you're going to go look at the week 1 video. So enough about that. Week number 2, the equity group is around English language learners, ELLs. A term I've heard that I would encourage you to start adopting is emerging bilinguals, because it refers to this group not from a deficit model, like you're learning English, you don't know English, but from actually like the opposite of like a deficit, an advantage, perhaps an advantage. Like you already know a language, you're learning another one, right? So emerging bilinguals, or ELs or ELLs. All of these are synonyms. I really like emerging bilinguals. So that's the topic of that. You have a little bit of reading. The book is by Dell. You're going to read 1 or 2 chapters each week. And week 2 is one of the lighter weeks for kind of the coursework, but then you have an assignment that's going to be to revise a lesson plan. One of the big topics of week 2 is around not just Bloom's taxonomy, but Bloom's digital taxonomy. There's a link from ASU, their Teach Online program, that walks you through what Bloom's taxonomy looks like with digital work. So for example, for creating, it's podcasting, blogging, movie making, things like that. Week number 3, we're looking at UDL, Universal Design for Learners. This is something in our school we talk a lot about and actually do a fair amount of PD with. It's a great way to think about how you engage with students and how all of their needs are met. So if UDL is new to you, you're going to love this. Like it's a really useful, really powerful way to think about kind of lesson planning and just the way we engage with students. The week 3 group, the subgroup, is students with physical disabilities. So we're going to dig into what that actually looks like and how we can support those types of students. There is not an assignment for week 3. There's 5 assignments total. I'm showing you 5 because there are 5. Week number 4, we are looking at the focus group is around socioeconomic status. So how we support all of those students, and depending on what school you're at and what your student population looks like, that will likely mean a different thing for you and perhaps can change over your career. There also is not an assignment for week 4, but then we jump ahead to week 5, where there's going to be an assignment. The focus group is around gifted and talented students. I've been seeing a lot of memes lately. I think my Instagram algorithm has put me in the bucket of like, oh, you were likely a gifted and talented student. I was. Raise your hand if you were. I think a lot of teachers were. It's like, oh, you were eager to please people. Your parents were this type of parent. You have various different tendencies. And instead of kind of getting a diagnosis like that, it was just like, you are gifted and talented. You obsess over this one thing and you're very attentive to detail. And it continues to actually be a really useful subgroup. My intention is not to tease at it. It's more like I see myself in a lot of the literature around that, and it's interesting to see how that group has changed over time. Your assignment in week number 5 is going to be an instructional 3-day lesson plan. A lot more to come on this, but you're essentially going to spend 2 or 3 weeks building this out. It should be detailed enough that a new sub would be able to come into your class if you were out for 3 days, teach this entire lesson plan, and not only have it go really well, but be able to actually hit all of the things we've been talking about, like Bloom's digital taxonomy. You'll see the UDL, Universal Design for Learning principles in that. And it's not just, oh yeah, your class went well with the sub for 3 days, but wow, that was a great lesson. It really met the needs of all learners. It should be kind of that level of detail that somebody new to teaching would be successful with it. It's definitely not a 2-page lesson plan. It's going to be pretty significant with that. Week number 6, The equity group is on closing the achievement gap. Um, there's a lot we're going to talk about with AI in education and how it's no longer just a digital divide with those that have tech tools and those that don't, but it's really becoming, as Ken Shelton says, a digital chasm where it's going to be students that have access to hardware, software, reliable Wi-Fi, and AI built into their lesson plans and their school day, versus those that don't. Schools that ban AI, schools that don't have reliable hardware and software, modern hardware, modern Wi-Fi infrastructure. All those things are creating a chasm where if we're not meeting our students' needs in all these ways, including AI in education, there's going to be an even bigger gap than I think we've ever seen in any of our careers. The week 6 assignment is a survey. It's the State of Equity Survey. We're actually going to get feedback, likely using a Google form, to get feedback from the school or the community you're in around all the things like technology, pedagogy, training, and then your school or your district or your community's ability to help with all these other subgroups or special education students, emerging bilingual students, could be fostered youth, students with physical disabilities, and then our last one, gifted and talented students. So you're going to create a pretty robust form and then spend a fair amount of time sharing it out, actually getting people to actually participate in that survey so that you have data for your week 8 assignment. But before that, week 7, the equity subgroup is looking at access to technology for all. So again, it's hardware, software, reliable Wi-Fi, and AI in education. Um, it's grown beyond just do they have a Chromebook, yes or no. It's do they actually have what they need to actually do things. And I would add, as a tech director, do they have what they need in a way that is actually usable and not just so locked down that it's essentially an unusable device, which I know a lot of schools will do. More on that in week 7. Week number 8, we're really just wrapping up the course. Your assignment at the end of week 8 is both a presentation and a paper around school equity and your research. And so, again, I'll talk a lot more about this in weeks 7 and 8. You're going to write about a 2-page paper, not too big, APA formatted, looking at what you found through the survey. In general, is kind of your reflection on the course. You're going to have a handful of references, and then the second part of that is you're going to create 5 slides. There's the number 5 again, to be able to share out theoretically to your school community what you learned around both your school equity reflection paper and then also that survey that you gave. So the rubric gives you a good overview of what all of that looks like, and that's the course. Sounds manageable, right? Kind of get the flow of it. Weekly discussion boards, 1 or 2 per week, 5 assignments altogether over 8 weeks. So less than 1 a week, but more than every other week. And that is all for the course. Make sure you've taken a look at the syllabus, all of the kind of department policies, all that kind of paperwork that we do at the beginning, and then head over to week 1. I'll give you some more details about our week 1